What's going on, everybody? I'm Primalliquid, and there is some kind of exciting news. So, as you all know, Disgaea 6 originally only released on the Nintendo Switch in Europe and America. However, in Japan, it did originally release on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. I made a video, ages ago, basically saying, don't worry, it will come to consoles eventually. Like, look, there's even listings on all these different stores for pre-orders and that. Everybody, nobody really believed it, apart from like a few people. Now, it has been announced that it is releasing on PS4, PS5, and PC as the Disgaea 6 complete version, which means it will come with all of the DLC and things like that. However, now that the game is, completely playable on the Switch, we've played tons and tons and tons of it. Therein lies the problem here. You see, Disgaea 6 it's a game that's built around one mechanic, pretty much, and that one mechanic is essentially auto-grinding, where the game will just play itself. You put in a bunch of commands, a little like the Gambit system from FF12, and then the game will run based on those commands, and it will repeat fights for as long as you want it to. Here's the problem. When playing Disgaea 6 on the Nintendo Switch, obviously, I did pretty much everything. I beat all the versions of Ball and all things like that. I got through Resatsu mode, etc. However, that was with leaving my Switch on non-stop for over a month. Literally, the Switch was not turned off for over a month. And the reason for that is, again, because the game is built on this auto-grinding system. So, what does that mean for consoles? Well, things like the PS4, the PS5, and even a PC, they get a hell of a lot harder than a Nintendo Switch does, Not only that, the Nintendo Switch will automatically dull its screen to save power. You can have it docked and things like that, and if you wanted to, you could have a little fan blowing on it as well to try and keep it cool. But even then, it still gets pretty hot when leaving it running on Disgaea 6 for extended periods of time. Now, when I was leaving it running for, a month straight and that just constantly auto-grinding, it did get hot, but it wasn't to the point of I would be worried about it killing the Switch. Now, though, with how scarce PS5s are, and if you are lucky enough to have a PS5, here's the question: are you going to be brave enough to leave your PS5 on 24/7? Because if you're not, you're probably not going to enjoy Disgaea 6, in my opinion. Now, with a PS4, PS4s are somewhat easy to get a hold of, sure. But depending on how hot the PS4 will actually get, because look at Disgaea 5. The console did actually get pretty toasty at times running that. So just to imagine leaving the console running 24/7, especially with the jet engine fans in the PS4, it really leaves a question of how is the game actually going to play? Because you can safely do the story for Disgaea 6 without really having to worry about the auto-grinding or anything like that. But when it comes to the post-game, you simply can't. It will take so much time if you don't abuse the auto-grind. So you're basically going to be left with, realistically, two choices if you want to take on the post-game in Disgaea 6. And that's going to be either having your console on from when you get up to when you go bed and just running Disgaea 6 constantly, so you can't play anything else while that's going on or anything like that. Or just leave your console on 24/7. Have it running while you're sleeping as well. Obviously, that's going to add some major wear and tear to the console, though. Because if you don't do the auto-grinding on Disgaea 6, in terms of how long it would take for you to actually really get anywhere in the game, let me try and put it into perspective for you guys. So, I had the demo for Disgaea 6 on the Nintendo Switch, which obviously, the save data did transfer over to the full game. I was running that extremely hardcore, again, 24/7, just auto-grinding, for, I think it was a little less than a month. It was probably about 3 weeks. And that allowed me to, when I actually, like, I did get a key from NIS America, so I did get the game a little earlier than some. But even then, like, I went from the demo to the full game strong enough to the point where I could crush the whole main story on, like, the normal difficulty. I could crush Carnage mode, and I could just get into Reisatsu mode, which is the highest difficulty in Disgaea 6. So I did have that bit of a jump start, but even then, it still took a month of non-stop, constant grinding to actually be able to beat Rock 6. God damn it. Reisatsu Ball, basically. So if you are not going to have your console on 24/7, how long are you going to have to grind? Well, I mean, quite easily it's going to be, double the time. So let's say you only have it running for 12 hours a day, which is still pretty long. That's going to up you to 2 months minimum. Yes, you do start with all the DLC, which will make things a little bit easier and a little bit quicker, but not to the point of, with damaging your console over. You're still going to have to leave the console on pretty much non-stop to really make any progress. From what I've seen in the email sent from NIST to, different press outlets and YouTubers and that, there's no mention of any changes to the system or anything like that. It does just seem to be the same as the Switch. The only difference is you're getting all the DLC. So I do think this is one thing to really, really consider if you're looking forward to the console or PC version of Disgaea 6. Think about the wear and tear that your console will experience on this. If you're more than happy to spend 6 months playing through it to beat Ball, by all means, you're not gonna have an issue, basically, because 4, 5, 6 hours a day, no problem. That'll, it will take a bit of time, but you will eventually get there. Obviously, it's just going to be way slower, and you will have to completely forego the main feature the game is entirely built around, which is the auto grinding. So a few things to consider right there, guys. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, I'm really curious now. If you've played the Disgaea 6 on the Nintendo Switch, what are your thoughts on a console port? And if you didn't play Disgaea 6 on the Switch, what are your thoughts after having this information? Are you still excited for it? Are you still going to get it? Are you curious about it? Let me know. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope it's answered a lot of questions that some people might have with relation to Disgaea 6. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.